My daughter is going to MSU.
Yeah.
And I'm moving her in on September 1st. And the shirt says, I'm a land surveyor because engineers need heroes too.
I'm very hard of hearing, so I have my daughter come with me just so she can listen to you guys, and then if I can't hear it, she can tell me what you guys say. Okay?
Okay.
Hi, Karen.
Hey.
Where do you want to sit?
Let's sit up. No, you don't have no other zoning officer over here.
No, well, unless Carrie comes down.
Yeah.
Would you, what's street number 8?
That place was pretty good, you know, there was 5 houses and a couple of matches. Just up the block, and they had trees against garage.
Really? It was weird. We had, we had one branch, I mean, these trees were just, I never saw them do what they were doing. They're just twisting them. Yeah, no problem. Last week, we had a couple weeks ago. But it was down the tree, I didn't want you to get there forever. That's what that's just a fun small thing. And I was surprised.
I feel like I just did one. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's what
deliberative. Yeah. 2
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
ago, yeah.
Who's Caitlin?
I have no idea. Probably somebody from the neighborhood. Six. 2 days. You're here for the next, right? Carrie's got that one.
Get everybody's attention.
It's been a while since we've done this one.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't have it home.
Okay.
Something you just need to stick on for P and Z meetings. If you want to see.
And it's a packed house, right?
Oh, on occasion.
So it's when some change zoning, it's sometimes very contentious. All right, it's 5:30. We will call this Winnebago County Board of Adjustment public hearing for July 26, 2022 to order. Begin by introducing ourselves. My name is Greg Cargus. I'm from the town of Oshkosh.
Tom Trushel, Tom Varma.
Sue Drexler, Town of Rome.
Larry Krisher, Town of Winchester. And Daniel LaFave, Winnebago County Code Enforcement Officer. So I will read the appeals process. So for the Board of Adjustment, the appeals process is as follows. An aggrieved person may appeal a final decision made by the Board of Adjustment by filing an appeal with the Court of Competent Jurisdiction within 30 days of the final decision.
All right, a decision will not be made this evening. That'll be made next Thursday morning, August 4th at 7:30 in the morning. Anyone wishing to find out what our decision is, call the zoning office after 9 o'clock in the morning. So we have one this evening. It is 7156 Liddell Shore Road in the town of Winnebago, and I'll have the legal description read.
The legal description being all, excuse me, being all of lot 5 of LaBelle Assessor's Plat located in northeast quarter of the northwest quarters of section 18, township 19 north, range 15 east, town of Winnebago County, Wisconsin.
Anyone wishing to give testimony this evening will need to be sworn in by Karen prior to giving that testimony. And we'll only have one person speak at a time. That's all right with everyone. So who is here representing this?
When I get closer so I can hear you there.
Don't get too close. Okay. All right.
6 feet.
Okay, anyone here representing the
Jim Philip from Gable Engineering.
board, please?
You sound, swear the statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and address.
Jim Philip, Gable Engineering, 1164 Province Terrace, Menasha, Wisconsin.
All right, Jim, tell us what you'd like to do there, please.
So I'm here on behalf of the client. He apologizes, couldn't make it today. He is on a family vacation that was pre-planned well before the hearing date. Currently, the parcel that is before you was created in 1967 with the assessor's plat of LaBelle Shores. The plat showed an existing house approximately 20 feet from the shoreline, and that structure is no longer here. I was talking to some of the neighbors. They said it burned down about 50 years ago. The access to the parcel is a 16-foot easement, private road easement, that is located at the southwest corner of the lot, and about the south line of that easement is approximately 20 feet from the channel wall. The existing structure on the site, which will be coming down once we, if the variance is granted, to be replaced by the proposed house, is approximately 13.6 feet from the channel wall. On the north, there are outbuildings 24.4 feet from Lake Winnebago, and on the south, there are boathouses that actually go into the water, and the next actual house is less than 20 feet from the existing shoreline. So what we're asking for is actually more restrictive than the houses surrounding this area. Currently, as the lot sits, there is 0 buildable square feet of land, even with using setback averaging. Because of the boathouses, you can't use that on that side of the lot, therefore it really restricts this lot. And with floodplain and everything else, you have to build it up within 15 feet of the structure. So we have to keep the house out a little bit from the property line. And there is an existing row of, I don't want to call them ancient pine trees, but very old pine trees that the client wants to keep as screening on that property. The house will be built to floodplain standards. And I did bring a picture of kind of what they're thinking of the house, and this 7 or 8 copies of it. If you want to take them, pass it down. On the site plan, it shows porches. Those porches are actually integral to the house as part of the structure. They're not a separate freestanding like deck or something from the house. The reason we orientated the house the way we did was to try to hold with the 20 feet from the south line. We try to hold that a little bit further away with the drive and allowing vehicles to park on the lot and keep it as far from the shoreline as humanly possible, while keeping kind of the integrity of the area and shoreline requirements. So if you have any questions for me, I would be glad to answer them.
Do you know when Mr. Miller acquired this property
It was this year.
this year?
The porch is gonna be on the south side, that's gonna be the same as this, correct? Be covered.
Yeah, that's
part of it.
the one on the south side is more of an entryway, kind of to step up on and get away from the dirt before dragging all the sand and everything into the house.
So both the deck on the north side and the porch on the south side are gonna be part of the main structure,
Correct.
not in addition
Right.
to.
We are working to cut off one side, like you can see on there, just to accommodate the 30-foot setback that we're asking for.
Do you have a picture that shows the other side here?
I
Because it does look like it goes out from.
don't, the house is,
Sue, this might.
yeah, there was 3 different pictures they gave me. I tried to give one that was a general view that without too much extra detail. It's gonna be the general A-frame style with the porches coming out with the floor extent.
You were describing some outbuildings with minimal setbacks from the water. Those existed on neighboring properties, correct?
Correct.
The only structure is the existing boathouse.
There's an existing boathouse that will be removed if the variance is granted.
This will be the only.
The only structure on the lot.
Only structure, not a boathouse.
Correct.
In addition to.
Correct. There, if you do notice on the north end of the property, there's a little like boat slip area.
Yes.
And that actually kind of hinders the ability to actually utilize the lot because your setback has to go around that and really causes detriment to the lot for setbacks.
Are they gonna have a mount system on here then, or is there
I haven't talked to them about,
a holding tank?
I think it's gonna be holding things. I don't think they can have mount, but I have not talked to them specifically about that.
Okay. That doesn't matter, that's not part of the
No,
setback.
that's not part of it, but it would be some type of holding tank.
I was at the town planning commission last week, or the town board meeting last week, and they voted unanimously to recommend.
Have they sent that into you yet?
They have, would you like me to read it now?
Sure.
So from the town of Winnebago, they had their town findings. 1, surrounded by non-conforming setbacks. 2, lot is at the end of a private road. The 3rd is removing the dilapidated boathouse, which is close to the shoreline. 4, county code setbacks create a non-buildable lot on the water. And the town conditions, they didn't have any, but town recommendation was for approval.
Did we get anything from the DNR?
No, we have not received anything from the DNR.
That was our correspondence you had.
That was the only correspondence we've had.
Okay.
Do you know?
Hold on.
I'm sorry, just, you have to be sworn in first. Speak. What's your,
Okay. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
State your name and address.
Kathy Nickel. Nickell, and I am 3735 East Enid Circle, Mesa, Arizona.
And she's speaking for me,
Okay.
okay?
go ahead, you.
So will the DNR be contacted, since it's so, especially if they have to raise and they're so close to the water and the channel on one side and the lake on the other side?
The DNR was notified. As for the fill and the floodplain, that's what the county regulates. So we regulate all of that fill that they'll have to bring in.
And that will be best because they do have sufficient setback area to fill according to the requirements, which is 15 feet on the side. And they do have enough area to do that, so that will be part of the permit process. Because they have to be above floodplain. Yeah.
We'd have to have you be sworn in before you can.
You solemnly swear the statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name and address.
Robert Huffman, 7148 Shoreline Drive, Winnebago. I live right across from where these people want to build.
Okay.
And my main thing is with that building, that'll completely block my view. And this lot was never supposed to have a house built on it in the first place. And also where I am, I'm right across, I'm way back here. And my original cottage burnt down, not when I was the owner. And then when they wanted to rebuild, they were forced to buy more land and more property and have the road changed because they had to be 75 feet away from the water. And now these people come along, well, that's not fair.
Well, this is a legal lot of record.
Yeah, here, I can show you.
I understand. Where are you located, sir? Just show me where I'm here.
So this is me right here,
Right here. Okay, yep.
okay? And the cottages were, well, it would be in line with these cottages. That was the original cottage.
Okay.
And then when that burned down, they were forced to move back and buy more land back in here and build a house back here. And that's where I live now, it's right there.
Okay. Like I said, this is a legal lot of record, so it is a buildable lot.
Pardon me?
This is a legal lot of record, so it's a legal parcel according to Winnebago County. So
Oh,
it is
the lot is legal, definitely.
Yep, and it's a buildable lot. It's
Yes.
just because it is a separate parcel. So that's why we're here, is to give consideration to the reduced setback area.
Okay, but that's my complaint is that why did these people have to move back 75 feet and these people, there's nothing on that lot that meets the requirements,
Right, we understand that.
okay?
And we have pictures if it would help.
Well,
The Board of Adjustment did view the property prior to this meeting, so they've seen it.
yeah, we have no control over what happened in the past on another parcel. That's not our issue right now.
Okay,
We're just dealing with this particular parcel. Whatever happened back, whenever this is done.
right, well, and the main reason when they bought the parcel way back was the understanding that nothing could be built on that. And that is from his backyard looking out. The boathouse is on one side and then there's a nice clearing where he has that view. If there's now something that's going to be built, that's going to impede his view, where initially it was said nothing could be built there. Otherwise, they probably might not have bought that property back then because they bought it because of the view of the lake. And,
Would you like to see the pictures?
No, I mean, you gotta understand that that parcel is not part of this parcel, and it never was. So
Right.
they have no control over what somebody's view is gonna be. We don't regulate view. We regulate setbacks. You know, and this is a lot of record, so this lot can be built on with the appropriate variances. And that's the way it is. I don't know what happened before, you know, what these other people had to do in the past. I mean, that's has nothing to do with us right now.
I've heard it said twice now that there was not supposed to be a building on this property. Where is that recorded? Whose rule is that?
do you know where?
That I wouldn't even know.
I mean, if it would have been deed restricted at one time, or it wouldn't be buildable, that's one thing, but that would have been on record, so.
Those deed restrictions are lifted if you put a house on the property.
Okay.
So if it was, unless there's something more, but not from us. Do we want to open it up to anybody on Zoom if they have questions quickly? Then we can.
You'll have to be sworn in, sir.
Yes.
Prior.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and address.
Daniel Grease, Gries, 7144 Shoreline Drive, Winnebago. So the historic element concerning no one can build on the island is, I think this come via hearsay, neighbor to neighbor. I know of no documentation that exists. But I've been told, like Bob, hundreds of times from neighbors repeating the same story over and over. I too will lose access or view of the lake with this complex being built. And so I'm objecting because it's just a
Anything,
non-buildable lot. I understand the lot is separate from my property and it's separate from Bob's property. But the variances, the setbacks are still in play. And so with the DNR not showing up, that's probably a usual situation, knowing those folks these days. So I recently have a dilapidated boathouse similar to what was announced here today on the island, which I had to replace. Mother Nature and the Wolf River kept on taking it down. So I built a brand new boathouse in 2018. And the requirement was I must have a 7-foot door on the lakeside, a dry boathouse. County requirement. And so right now, if you go out to my place, you'll find a 7-foot door on the lakeside. No, I applied for suggesting a variance, could that be deviated? Answer was no, from county planning and the building inspector, town of Winnebago. So I complied, reluctantly, but I complied. So I'm out there since 1988, and got the third generation and a fourth generation now started. That plans on using that complex.
So you're over here next to Mr. Huffman?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, the lake runs all around here, so you still have lake views. It's just you don't have, you may not have all of the lake view from over here, but it isn't restricting any of your lake view anywhere else, correct?
Yes, we'll have lake view.
Okay.
We will not have a sunset view any longer.
I just, that lot, there's no, they don't meet any of the requirements for the distance from the water. And how can they build a house? If there's still a 75-foot that you're supposed to be 75 feet away from the water. And they don't meet any of that. Not anywhere around the house.
Well, that's why we're here. And again, like I said before, this is a lot of record and it is a buildable lot. So, you know, we have to try to do the best we can with what we got, basically.
You solemnly swear the statement you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name and address.
Douglas Reese, GRIES, 335 Matthew Street, Kimberly, Wisconsin. I guess the question I have is, do you have a plan B at all for the house or the structure? Is there a?
Please.
I guess I would.
Sir, please address
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
Board of Adjustment.
Gotcha, okay.
Thank you.
I guess I would throw it out there that if this is a tall ask, and let's face it, you're not, you're talking about putting a structure in, for us, 34 years without an existing structure, for Bob, even longer, and, if it really puts you guys in a position to almost pick winners and losers, because I don't know what it's gonna do to our land value. I can guarantee it's not gonna enhance it. Nothing out there right now is really going to allow our property to go up in value by building that structure in front of us, and therefore taking away from, what we currently have. I can't speak for Bob's property, but I think it's pretty safe to say that I don't know how that would enhance the value of his property. Now, looking out into a home, in the back of a home, and if I understood correctly, we're gonna see the back end of that entire property with parking and everything else that obviously is not going to be in front of the place. So, yes.
I'd like to ask a question. How tall is the current boathouse that's on there at this time?
I did not measure the height of the current boathouse.
What would you, you would have some idea, like it's a garage type building?
Yeah,
correct?
it's
What would
probably
you show you a picture?
about 12 feet.
12 feet, okay, and how tall will the new structure be?
It'll, because of the requirements, Winnebago County has 1,000 square foot minimum requirement for any structure. The footprint of this building is under 1,000 square feet, so it'll have a loft. So it'll be about the equivalent of a 2-story house.
So what
But-
would that be? How many feet would that be?
I don't know heights for a 2-story house.
20, you think?
I think that's 2010
The house is being designed based on the footprint that is allowed. And they are trying to do it as minimally invasive to the area. And that's why they're going with the A-frame style to, as it goes up, it's tapering.
And there is a structure there that is 12 feet high, so there has to be some restriction that you have at this time too, that you can't see as well as if there was nothing there. So, and that's been there for how long?
It's been there as long as we've been there, but
Okay.
I guess it's
Thank you.
minimal and, it's a very good point, but it's minimal in the overall aspect of what it does once this, structure is built. And I guess,
You're not really sure about that. This is a block structure that's there now. This is gonna be a structure that's gonna be angled, so. But
it's
that
still-
it really doesn't
yeah,
have
the
anything to
footprint is
do
gonna
with.
move, right? The footprint, as I understand it, it's gonna move over this structure sits here, it's gonna
Yeah, it's
spread
gonna
across the property.
be to the west.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate, guys, I certainly don't want to waste your time either, but I don't know how, in the grand scheme of things, when we're looking at who gets what, it really puts you in a position to really now pick a winner or lose. And I don't know, again, I don't know that somebody can say it's against the value of our property, because I don't think it is. It's going to obstruct the view. More so, unfortunately, for Bob and us. But again, I guess that's the biggest thing that I struggle with is, it's a tall ask. I don't begrudge him for asking. I would have asked as well if I would want that property, but going on a pretty tough premise, buy a piece of property like that, and then, I'm falling sort of like this to try to get permission to build a structure. And, it's just, like I said, it's a tough thing for us to have to swallow like that.
Can I show you the pictures?
We don't need to see the picture,
No.
we've been there.
You've been on the site.
Yes,
You
we've been
walked
on
the
the
whole
site.
site,
We
yes.
walked it.
Can I please?
Dave has a question?
Yes.
You have to be sworn in prior to asking any questions or giving any comments.
You want to raise your right hand? You solemnly swear the statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You're on mute.
No, she's not. I don't know if that's our system or.
Someone else muted me. I'm off on mine. I'm off. Somebody else muted me.
How about now?
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can't hear you.
I'm not on mute.
I can
I'm not on mute. I'm not muted here.
State your name and address.
Jane Shea, 5543 Cedar Crest Court in Appleton, Wisconsin. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just have two comments. I guess I'm along with, I own the two boathouses that are right next door to this property. And I guess my first comment is just, if you have a rule of 75 feet, I really don't understand how you can just waive that away for one person. And you'd have to do that for everybody that comes in front of you is my view of that. My other question is, if you look at the plat map, I have a little strip. I own a little strip of land that actually is kind of on that lot. It's past my second boathouse. And I'm just wondering how I'm gonna have access to that little strip of land when this person builds, and I'd like to know how that's going to work.
Your access will not be restricted by them building on their lot. That's not gonna change the layout of the lot at all. I assume that you have a house on the lakeside then, is that?
No, I just own the two boathouses.
Okay, and your access now is by easement also?
No, I just go down the dead end road, and before you hit David Miller's lot, my boathouses are on the right.
Okay,
So
so that doesn't change anything. That won't change anything as far as your access goes to your boathouses.
okay, so I assume Mr. Miller then has to allow me, because I do have to go on to his lot to get on my strip. So I just want to make sure that I can still do that.
If that's the case, you would have to reach out to Mr. Miller and have something in writing recorded.
Okay,
That's not part of.
That is not part of the Board of Adjustment or the variance process, unfortunately.
I understand, but I hope you'll take into consideration, there's a reason why that lot has not been built on for years and years. And again, I'm echoing what everybody else says. People have bought it and sold it because they realized it's not a lot that's conducive to building. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to say anything for or against this variance request? Yes, sir. Swear in, please.
State your, solemnly swear the statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and address.
Sean Nickel, 3735 East Enid Circle, Mesa, Arizona. Yeah, I kind of echo what everybody's saying. I think the main issue is, if you look at the existing boathouse, it's a very small footprint. And what I'm seeing is this is substantially taller. So I think the height is one of the big issues, is that's what's going to be partially obstructing the view is the height, because and we took pictures, but if his view from the back of his porch and his backyard, it's that higher structure would for sure impact his view from his living room and his dog. And that's why he purchased the property, and that's why he's still, for the joy he has of owning. So I think part of it's the height too. That little boathouse is not very tall. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Anyone else standing for or against this variance request? If not, we have no more staff reports, correct?
We have no more staff report. That was read. Just the town of Winnebago.
Okay, very good. Hearing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Then motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all for coming.
Can you, so, I was gonna say on